Every year on the first Sunday of Lent, the church brings us into the desert, not as spectators, not as tourists, but as participants. Because the desert is not a place on a map, it is a place in the soul. And there's a question waiting for all of us there. What actually rules your heart? Not what you say rules your heart, or not what you post on social media, not what you think rules it, but what actually rules your heart. We often imagine temptation as something crude, something obviously dark, something ugly and destructive. But here's the truth. The devil does not tempt good people with evil. He tempts good people with good things. That's why the gospel today is so dangerous. Because it exposes how subtle the battle really is. Jesus goes into the desert after 40 days and 40 nights. He's been fasting. He's hungry, weak, human. And the devil comes to him not with horror, not with violence, but with a reasonable suggestion. He says to him, hey, why don't you turn these stones into bread? I know you're hungry. Well, bread is not evil. Bread is good. Have you ever had some fresh Cuban bread with nice butter and a cafecito? Food is good. Pleasure is good. Comfort is good. The temptation was not to do something wicked. The temptation was to meet a legitimate need in a way that bypassed the trust of the Father. To use power for self before obedience. And Jesus answers with words that should shake us. Man does not live on bread alone. Translation means your deepest hunger is not physical. And yet how much of our lives are spent chasing satisfaction? We feed our bodies constantly. We feed our egos constantly. We feed our impulses. But do we feed our souls? That's why the church asks us to fast. Not because food is bad, but because hunger clarifies. Hunger exposes what we depend on. Then the devil raises the stakes. He shows Jesus all the kingdoms of the world. Power, influence, control. Again, none of these are evil in and of themselves. Leadership is good and necessary. Authority is good. Influence can be very good. But the temptation is to grasp them without the cross. To win without obedience, to rule without surrender. Worship me, the devil says, and it all will be yours. In other words, compromise. Just a little and you can have it all. Isn't that the same whisper we hear today? Cut corners. Adjust the truth a little bit. Who's going to see? Soften the gospel. Don't be so serious. Don't be so radical. It's not such a big deal. Everybody does it. You can have success. Just don't let Christ interfere too much. And finally, the most subtle temptation of all. Throw yourself down from this temple. Let the angels save you. The temptation to perform, to impress, to be spectacular. Again, prestige in and of itself is not evil. Reputation is not evil. But living for applause is deadly. The temptation was to manipulate God's power for public approval. To build a following without fidelity. But Jesus refuses. He refuses bread without trust. He refuses power without obedience. He refuses glory without sacrifice. But here's some gospel truths. These are the same three temptations we live each and every day: appetite, power, prestige, pleasure, control, recognition, accumulation. The devil rarely destroys a soul by offering something obviously corrupt and bad. The good person will discharge it right out. He destroys a soul by slowly rearranging priorities, by convincing us that good things are the ultimate things. And when good things become the ultimate things, they become idols. God then takes a second place. That's the real battle of Lent. Not chocolate, not coffee, not social media, not all of those things that you may have given up. The real battle is hierarchy. What is first? Who is first? You cannot serve two princes, the Prince of Peace and the Prince of this world. One leads to freedom through the cross. The other leads to slavery disguised as earthly success. St. Pope John Paul II once told a generation, "You must choose. Your choice must be clear and your decision must be firm." It wasn't dramatic rhetoric, it was realism. Every generation faces that moment where they have to come to a decision. But here's the sobering truth. You do not make that decision once. You have to make that decision every single day, where you wake up in the morning and say, "I choose you, Christ. I will shape my life, my priorities, all of my decisions, everything that I do based on you." Every time you choose prayer over distraction, every time you choose integrity over convenience, every time you choose fidelity over applause, every time you choose Christ over comfort. Now, let me say something plainly. The devil is real, whether you believe it or not. He hates Christ. He hates the church. He hates marriages. He hates families. And he most definitely hates priests. And he will have nothing more than to convince you that the desert is unnecessary. But the desert is where clarity is born. Lent is not about minor adjustments. It's about reordering the heart. It's about asking with brutal honesty, where have I placed bread before God? Where have I sought power instead of obedience? Where have I craved applause more than seeking holiness, serving the Lord quietly? Again, this is not meant to discourage you. I'm giving you the good news. Jesus did not just resist temptation for himself, he resisted it for you. He entered the desert so that when you enter your desert, you're not alone. You know that he's there walking with you. He defeated the devil so that you could fight with his strength. The desert is not where we go to fail. The desert is where we go to decide. So I'll leave you with this. What will profit you to gain the whole world and lose your soul? What would it profit you to win admiration and forfeit eternity? What would it profit you to feed every appetite and starve your heart? This is a generation of decision, not political decisions, not cultural decisions, spiritual decisions. Nothing comes before God. Not success, not comfort, not more things, not relationships, not reputation. Nothing comes before God. And if you make that decision that nothing comes before God, truly make that decision, Lent will not be a season of deprivation. It will be a season of liberation. Because when Christ is first, I promise you, everything else falls into its place. Choose clearly this year. Choose firmly. Choose Christ today and always. Amen.